This is or Do by Friday, a weekly challenge podcast with Alex Cox and Merlin Mann. This week's challenge: manipulate your data.
Hello, Merlin Mann. How are you?
Hello, I'm very well, Alex. How are you?
I'm wonderful. I'm having one of those days where I'm like, is this how most people feel all the time? Because I got I think 13 hours of sleep. And it's just great. I feel great.
Do you notice a difference?
Yes.
Yeah.
I really do.
Yeah.
So when you're like, I got some good sleep, do you really feel like different right away or throughout the whole day? Am I going to feel good all day?
I imagine it differs a lot from person to person.
I know that I'm acting like it's a switch that got flipped, but
no, I mean it really does make a difference. You know, it really does, and for me also then like having the whatever it is, the will to like actually do some stuff that's useful is a nice feeling that you can kind of bounce off the back of a good night's sleep sometimes to actually accomplish something.
Oh, I didn't say that. I mean, I never sleep before recording, and I always do something good, which is talking to you. Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you're here, and I'm glad you slept. I don't understand how my heart rate variability seems to be going down every single day. It doesn't seem like a good pattern. I don't pay a ton of attention, but sometimes I'll think, I feel like I slept okay, and I woke up feeling pretty good, and I look at my dingus, and the dingus is like, your heart rate variability went down 5. It's like, how can it always be going down? What is it, the stock market? Am I right?
Wait, I also thought that was a good thing. Shouldn't you not be like beep-boo, wee-woo throughout the night?
Shouldn't you not be beep-boo, beep-boo all through the night?
Variable is bad, right? When you're asleep, it
No,
shouldn't be
it's
varying.
good.
Okay.
HRV, yeah. I think variability, generally it's good. I mean, this is America.
But, so not just when you're sleeping. I see. Okay. All right. I was a little bit worried.
Stop acting like you understand what I'm talking about.
No, I'm looking at this. I'm like, I should have.
Number go up.
No, I thought, like, wait, you're supposed to have a lower heart rate when you're sleeping, right? Right. And for a second,
well, it gets confusing because, like, you know, just to state some somewhat obvious things that I personally have to keep in mind is that pulse, for example, is not the same thing as blood pressure. They're measuring different things about your blood in your body, but one is how hard or how your heart is beating, and then the other one is, you know, the amount of pressure. And my pulse is not technically a medical issue, but my blood pressure can be. And then heart rate variability, I don't pretend to understand it. I just know that I've just heard that it's someone you want trending up. That means you're doing something right.
Yes. Now I can at least confirm in my sleep app that it is red when there is a minus HRV and a plus. So when it's positive.
Mine's just this incredibly annoying, like just like up and down, derp, and I don't know. A person starts to wonder how useful that really is. But no, I'm just glad it's all getting captured. I had 9 hours and 57 minutes. I'd still love to bring that BPM down. But let's see what it says here. What's my HRVT? My sleep rating for today is 100%. Sleep readiness, 5 stars. Sleep fuel rating, poor. HRV going down 0.9 from yesterday. BPM up 4 from yesterday.
Oh, this is the fancy app that I truly don't understand, right? Auto sleep. I should try.
It is called auto sleep. Yeah. It takes a little. It's sort of like a Bloomberg terminal for your sleep. It takes a while to kind of get used to like how it presents it, but then it becomes pretty intuitive to look at, to just glance at.
That's really funny.
Yeah, I mean it's got a lot more complicated, poorly displayed detail than you probably need. It's got a lot of dials and buzzers and whatnot, and you can like add emoji and stuff like that. But I'm happy for you. That's a nice feeling. It's a little win.
Yes, indeed. So I'm matching your energy, Merlin.
In what sense, Alex?
Doing today? You give me so much grace that I want to extend.
What's happening? Which of us is dying?
Happening?
I don't
No
know.
one's
Sometimes you get
dying. I mean,
really
we're all
sincere
dying.
very early in the show, and I think it's because you're just nervous. When it's sincere late in
no.
the show, I'm totally into it. At the beginning of the show, it makes me think that is everything okay?
Okay, well here's like a middle seer, like a like
Also,
not
it's a
sin-
bit. I've got to act like I don't like you.
sincere.
That's part of the show.
I know, but here's
Didn't
a
you know
middle
that?
seer. Now that I'm looking
seer?
at these apps, because it's not a sin, because it's co-sin and tan, right?
Middle seer?
Co-sin tan, yeah. Instead of a sincere,
Cosine?
yeah.
What? Are you
Opposed
speaking
cosine.
Latin?
I believe it's called trigonometry.
That's conclave.
It's
As it
don't have a
turns
pope.
out, there's another secret cardinal we hadn't heard about who has some rather interesting gender presentations. And they are now Pope. Pope they the first. First of their name. King of the
right.
Andals.
there.
The unburnt. Mother of dragons. Khaleesi. Alex.
Oh, I love my hermaphroditic Pope and his curvy clave. Hermaphroditic.
Do we
that
say
is
that?
what he
I don't know, are we still
called-
saying that?
I thought that's what.
Usually
he
people
called
hiss
himself
at you
in
and
the
go, I
conclave.
think you mean intersex.
Well, but there's a difference.
I don't know. I mean, it's not none of my business. It would be like somebody pulling up in I don't know, in a Ford Mustang and me going, that's a nice Ford Mustang. And you go, it's a fastback. It's from 1968.
Well, that's
That's
why
a
you
Type
don't.
2 Mustang. That's different. I just meant to tell you your car looks cool.
Well, that's why you say car, and we don't say
Car.
Mustang anymore.
Automobile.
Uh,
Dong.
automobile.
Dong. What happened to Grandpa's automobile?
This is a reference.
It is a reference, and we'll move right past
Yep. Let's
it.
keep going. Keep going. Yep.
Well,
yep.
no, I'm happy. I got nowhere to be. I don't have a ton for today. This past week, I'm still getting links from you that you send to me, but then I
Yes.
sometimes also just receive very, very large bits of prose from you that I'm expected to process without any contact. So I got those things. I wrote down a couple of prose things I thought I might ask you about.
I thought you were going to read some of the messages I sent you.
I've been admonished that one is not supposed to do that.
I mean, without consent, probably no, but please feel free to share all of my beautiful prose.
It's not going to be one of those. Not going to be one of those episodes.
Okay. All right.
Well,
all right.
Unless you put me in a position where it has to become that.
Okay. I'll be good.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you.
America's
I'll be
roast
good.
beef.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Trump. Thank you. Restore the dictator to health is something I think on a regular basis.
Dr. Morell, he's a mushroom man. You know that?
Nope. See, I don't pretend to understand.
Isn't that?
things.
Aren't I making a video game joke?
A mushroom man, as in Doctor. So the Nazi is also a Mario character. That's what my brain
Well,
is.
you've got that guy. What's his name?
jumping
Todd.
around
You got that
Toad.
guy Todd
Yes.
he's got that mushroom problem that they have in The Last of Us. He's a
yeah.
sweet boy.
Oh yeah.
I like Mario
He is-
Kart, but I don't think you should be allowed to throw things at people. I think it's very distracting to people trying to drive.
That's their culture.
Oh no.
Yeah.
See,
wow.
this is how they treat the Dothraki too.
Yeah,
If you want to talk to the
exactly.
Dothraki, it helps to make everything about horses.
Yeah.
Which seems a little bit. I mean, honestly, that seems a little bit. The soft bigotry of diminished expectations. You will ride a giant horse across the narrow sea and the amber waves of grain. I wonder what is a trick like that with us, where like we'd understand everything more if it was always explained in this one way. Like a Dothraki,
yeah.
like him, a horse.
If you explain a lot to me in terms of what era a Mac like processor was using, that sometimes works.
I flatly don't believe that.
Oh, try it.
Okay.
This is like when you thought I cheated because I knew that the Android OS used to have dessert names. That's not
no, that was cheating. That was cheating because
No, it was not
people gave you the
cheating.
answers about.
No, it wasn't. No, literally, there were
About a
three
platform I don't
people.
use.
On a platform.
Oh, this one's Obstreperosaureo. And this one's a Dingleberry
I don't
doll.
watch Harry Potter anymore.
I watched a really good video on how they made Hagrid tall.
The from the movie or oh,
It's really
how'd
cool.
They make 'em?
One of the things was they
sounds.
hired a guy who's a retired rugby player who's actually super tall. Robbie Coltrane's right around 6 feet tall. And they got this guy and they came up with this crazy big giant rubber suit and this amazing lifelike mask on top of which, he has those big thick boots you think Hagrid wore. Those have stilts in it. So it made this guy like 7'5" when they had to like shoot from the back or the side or something like that. It was really
So you're
neat.
saying all practical effects and all visual effects are bad. Got it. I will text Todd and I can't find this on
Don't
YouTube.
provoke that guy. I mean,
Notes.
it's you don't want to provoke him. He gets very frustrated about that.
Well, I mean, provocation is a little bit fun.
Provocation is 9/10 of the law.
I mean, it feels like you enjoy mentioning the chain Arby's, and I still haven't gotten the curly fries, even though I do understand the name of why it's called Arby's. It's just not clever. Do you know why it's called White Castle, Merlin?
Because of Jim Crow?
It wasn't funny.
Doesn't even have real crenellations. That's a joke.
doesn't.
Of course it does. Every box had a crenellation. That's how you shoot your arrows. Pew, pew.
It's not funny. Why am I laughing at
Sir
it?
Bronn of the Blackwater. Good for you. That's all good. What else am I looking at here? So let's see. I've got several windows open. I was adding some challenges. And I can go anywhere.
I mean, we could continue the new era and get into the chat
Yeah, that's fine.
challenge right
Yeah, yeah,
away.
But as far as that Mac Whisper thing you told me about, is the short version of that I want to fully buy the non-App Store version, and then I
Yes.
can, okay. And you can tell me
Yes.
what's different in that version, and you sound like you like this developer. He sounds nice.
Yes,
Okay.
it seems very nice.
Is that Jordy Brune? Those are names?
Yes.
I'm not
I don't
sure
have
how I remember
It
that.
sounds familiar
Do I
because
know
it's
him?
an interesting name.
I feel like I know a
don't
Jordy.
know.
Didn't there used to be a Jordy that edited one of my shows?
I don't keep track of you. I'm not sure. Wow, maybe I'm not your biggest fan.
It's not your day to watch me.
I feel bad now.
Yeah.
There's little Ryan. Oh, I'm trying to think of past characters.
No, that's okay. Yeah,
He's
yeah.
the square guy.
The square guy.
We say rectangle now. Sorry. There's Jim. This is really good for the show. I'm hearing.
I'm glad you slept.
I am too. I felt like I did a double sleep. Like my body wanted to be
I have
kind
those
to
sometimes.
me.
Yeah.
Like I texted you. I'm like, hey, oh gosh, it's like 10:30. I just woke up. Let's push back the show. And it's not. I'm guessing this time it was because I was being lazy. No, not being lazy. I just overslept. And then I immediately fell right back to sleep. And
Yeah.
then
Sometimes
woke up.
it's what a body needs.
Oh, it's great when you're not drinking Red Bull at 3 p.m. Oh, good.
I mean, if it
times.
helps. I just found that in my days of whatever, let's just, J random energy drink, whether that's coffee or Rockstar or whatever, it just didn't make me feel good after,
I
try to utilize that feeling.
I've decided to do an experiment that I did a while back, and it ended up that Monster, generally, the Monster energy drink, which does look more like a gamer drink, seems to make me less twitchy than a Red Bull. And I think it's because it tastes marginally better. Still not good, but marginally better. So you don't drink it as fast, where I just like...
Interesting.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
subtle.
And
Yeah.
instead of literally shotgunning a Red Bull, that's because they're so gross. And then an espresso too. Like I'm finally getting, I think, the obsession of coffee and espresso with some of my friends, because I think it's a bit of a false flag. The whole like, oh, it's the taste thing. I think it just makes them feel a certain way, and they're just addicts towards a certain feeling, and they think that the flavor correlates with the feeling. And now I'm like, I wonder, what if it was just a slow release caffeine pill? Like, would that just be?
I mean, yeah.
like a
Why don't you just
Monster
take
Energy
Vivarin?
drink?
That would be the easiest thing. I mean, you could take Vivarin. I mean, I don't know if you need the taurine and stuff like that, but like, if you're looking for caffeine, that's probably a relatively straightforward way to do it.
Yeah, or I could just do Adderall. There's so many things, so many options. Oh,
What a
I'm
country.
feeling great.
Well, thank you for answering that question. The challenge this week is to manipulate your data.
Yes. I tried to play with Mech Whisper again because I'm trying to transcribe pretty much every podcast I've done. It started
I still don't know why. Is it you want to use it as like a knowledge base kind of feeling?
Yeah, it's become really useful. I haven't talked about this before. I will now. I have a lot of recordings of my voice at different times when I've been on different levels of like hormones and medication, and my spouse too. Like totally pre. Hello, I am a full-on man now.
Hello.
Like T transition before he started testosterone injections had a very different voice. And I've been making what is a Coxbot essentially, that is a little me clone, which for a while Claude told me not to do. Claude was like, this is a dumb idea. But eventually it did get the sycophancy and was like, okay, fine, I'll help you do it. And so having all of the, just every piece of data, as including the sound of my voice, has been really helpful, because then I don't need to automatically log like, this is what I sound like happy, this is what I sound like sad, because there are now ways that that 11 Labs and this new API, this company called Hume.ai just released their own language model that supposedly can sense tone. So far it works, but I think it's like I have no reference. So just a computer telling me this is what you sound like happy. And I'm like, yes, I do sound happy. It's just a confirmation bias type thing. So that's why I've been downloading everything. And I am interested in two versions of a bot that this has been with Matt's permission and was like part of his idea. Like, what if we just took data from his messages, and like both of our messages, out publicly trans messages, and like text data and voice data, and then create one just with every bit of data post transition, and see what happens and see how people react to it when they talk to various versions of this, because I'm just interested. Like doing
what do you do with if it's not that you have to have a reason for this, but to like, this also reminds me of your like five-star rating system for how you feel. What do you do with the information about how you felt with a given voice?
Not at the moment, nothing.
You look
other
for patterns
than
of some kind. No, you're not, because it's really about making this bot. That's a different thing.
That's the thing. Ideally, the bot will be able, it will categorize it. Like, I have yet to you have to make tags on sort of what you want an emotion to sound like, and that's part of choosing like the different services to index the model. Some of them are I prefer using an open source one, because people are going to be like, oh man, but you're giving all these companies your data. I'm like, yeah, I gave all these companies my data accidentally when I was 12 years old and signed up for MySpace and checked a bunch of boxes. Like, I don't care. And the reason is just to see how people react to it. Hold on.
No, I'm listening. But I'm now imagining all the people who are press ganged into like, using your bot and saying how they feel about it. No. Now we got to do the other one. You can compare. Better or worse? Better or worse?
That's kind of the idea. So much of
when people show up, do they realize that that's what they're going to be doing that evening? Is interacting?
Oh, I don't know.
Oh no.
Okay. No, I don't know. This has been.
Then they're going to have to give their opinions. Probably fill out like a comment card.
Oh, this has been in tandem with like a lot of I know a lot of game designers. Max was one of the former co-hosts of the show is a game designer, and there are all of these studies about the storytelling of games as empathy and the ability to empathize with people because of playing a video game, and that has happened to me like many times, but I'm a fucking weirdo nerd and I've seen it be successful to varying degrees, but people chatting with just completely fake made up people and just their ability, ones that pass the Turing test as most people understand it, really sparks levels of empathy that I have never seen before.
All right, I'll allow it. I think that sounds exciting.
Interesting. So that's been my I've been basically doing this since 2013, just gathering data since 2013 because I had a very dark thought.
You'll probably almost have it figured out at this point, right?
How it all
fits together.
No. I just thought there was a Black Mirror episode called Be Right Back. And I'm like, I don't see why this is bad. I really don't see what the problem is with this. And I still don't really see what the problem is. Be Right Back is the episode of Black Mirror.
It's the one with the Weasley brother and the Captain America woman.
I didn't know she was the Captain America woman.
She's Peggy Carter.
But yes. Well, Peggy's partner dies tragically in a freak car accident, and so she ends up using this service that is now a real thing that some people use called grief bots. That is, you put your data of your dead partner or
all I can
family
see is
member.
Like the Simpsons version of that. Hello, here 3-2, Alex.
Yeah, I've tried them. They're interesting. But especially when you have
the grief industry's already so wholesome and normal.
Yeah, very, very wholesome. Have I ever told you that my great grandpa is in a Folgers can in the garage of my grandpa's? Just in my grandpa's garage, and I don't think you
have told me that.
Well, he was always like, "Oh man, it's just a grift. It's just a grift. God doesn't like Catholics kind of have a touch and go thing with cremation, but he was like, man, I don't care. Like my war buddies went to heaven. Like what the Jews weren't like what because they were as they're not. No.
That's not what the can sounds like though. Usually, right? Because I don't want to move that somewhere else. My war buddies and the Jews, Grandpa.
It's like
put your lid back. Putting your lid back on, little guy.
I don't want my tattoos to decay. I don't fucking care. And he really liked
I heard that black woman lost the election. Yes, Grandpa, but I could have told you that. Screwdrivers used to be better.
Said that.
I wouldn't drive a Japanese car personally. Grandpa.
Oh, Alex really did like playing with cards. Oh, yeah. Okay, this makes sense. Whatever.
Grandpa
Put me
Bud.
Back on the shelf.
I love you, Grandpa.
But
You want to talk to my peepaw? What do you mean? Oh, it's just this Folgers can. And then you're over here going like, Grandpa, you can pay me any old buddies from the Jews. Alex, you're obviously just trying to throw your voice. What?
No,
I've been doing this since 2013. I can do this all day, as Captain America says.
Oh, yeah. Well, Captain America then, or Captain America's wife talks to her grief bot, and then
Mrs. America.
Mrs. America talks.
Is there a Mr. America?
Well, that's the thing. She does make a synthetic, full-on,
She's English.
atomic like fully looks like her new Mr. America or the one of the Weasleys, as you would, and
Donald
realizes yes, and finally realizes, oh,
That's
this
Ex
shirt
Machina.
isn't-
That's Ex Machina.
You said it like Voldemort, or not Voldemort, the
Voldemort.
60s pig.
60s pig.
Hi,
Hi.
I'm Voldemort. Oh gosh.
Harry Potter. Harry Potter. Harry Potter. Harry Potter.
Oh gosh.
So did you manipulate your data?
Yeah, no, I did. I started being a
I don't know. I'm trying to just follow along. I'm asking questions.
I'm just saying, at the end of the episode, she realizes, man, it's probably not a good idea to constantly talk to the shadow of someone who has passed away.
Yes.
But maybe it's a good way
the Bill
to remember them
the Bill
sometimes.
Weasley bot. It's okay
Yeah,
as a sometimes thing, as a treat, but you oughtn't have it on constant.
So now Bill Weasley, at the end, he lives in the attic, which sounds sad, but again, not real. So it's all... Oh, see, the Harry Potter bot lived downstairs. He was the cupboard bot. Yeah.
There's a
Everyone,
spider in
whether
there
it's
too,
a
I think.
Folger can, attic, whatever, you know.
You can fold your can any way you want, as far as I'm concerned. Just remember Peepaw's in there.
We don't say Mustang anymore. I need to stop. That's not funny. Oh, gosh. So I've been taking more of my transcripts and trying to find right now it's actually still processing a word, or I finally figured out an open source program that'll make a word cloud out of the 50 or so episodes. I just want to find the words I say most that aren't just articles.
I can tell you that.
Yes, go on.
I mean, there's some that come up a lot, like say, I hate it. Hate it. No.
It's not just this program.
The world's most boring
So-
word cloud.
It's
Just the
that's
word
part of
no, very, very large, and then a bunch of like nouns repeated twice.
If no shows up more than I'd be very, very happy.
Oh, I see. Yeah. That's cool though. That's a fun project. Well, then it might actually make sense to talk about this Mac Whisper thing, because this is what you're talking in manipulating data. However one looks at that for the challenge, that this involves the Mac Whisper thing you were telling me about. So you might as well tell me now. Huh?
Yes.
I own and use, I believe, I might have bought both, or as I say, boughten. I know I bought the App Store version that's whatever Whisper transcription. But it sounds like you're saying from this long prose you sent me that you're better off to get the one off the website that's not the App Store version because it can do different things.
Yes. It can do them without a limit on them. You can use the quote advanced models, and that's the ones that are more successful in
Like the Whisper
detecting
Kit, large
yeah.
ones and stuff like that.
In order to detect speakers at all, you need a WhisperKit model, which I don't fully understand what's different between WhisperKit and Whisper C++, because I've never seen Whisper C++ mentioned anywhere else. But I'm like, all right, yes, I have 3 gigabytes. I will use WhisperKit. And it is not as slow as I thought it would be. But the caveat is if you have an M1 series of Mac, it's still kind of it'll sometimes crash, but it crashes relatively quickly. And there's even a little pop-up like, hey, this probably won't work. And I appreciate that. But if it starts working, it'll work all the way through. And then,
Okay, I'm going to do this. I did buy Mac Whisper Pro.
yeah, the one that's like 30 like that's
It's
the one.
59 euros, maybe. Anyways, I just
earlier.
found the receipt for that, so I'm going to download that, and then should I should probably delete my App Store version just to be safe?
Yes.
All right.
Because I don't know if mine was wonky or if it was because I didn't delete the App Store first.
Okay.
Oh, and also detecting speakers I don't have any evidence for this other than my own experience. MP3s work better than waves. So that's good. That made me happy.
Okay. Once you enter the... Okay, I got to enter my email. I'm clicking. Yeah, I'm not, I don't want to just, slag this, but like it has been kind of a frustrating journey with this app, just in terms of like how the stuff that I really want out of it isn't particularly deeply documented. But I'm now downloading MacWhisper. I'm clicking. I've got a license. Oh, this is exciting. All right. And have you been enjoying this?
Oh, absolutely. The UI is not great, which, and it's not just that there really isn't too much. In fact, there's no documentation at all, really, other than saying...
There's documentation for lots of getting started stuff and the usual sort of like FAQs on how you purchase this and things like that. But no, I imagine this is a one-person operation. It's kind of a lot of work.
It is, and primarily primarily AI centric engineer. So, kudos to just getting a user facing app and not having to spelunky through GitHub. Thank you. And if you have it working, let me know.
I got it up. I've got it up. I've entered my license, and now I'm at the choose my models thing. So and some of these look familiar, but what's the one you recommend?
You want a
large turbo V3?
Yes, V3, and again, make sure it's the Whisper Kit one.
Yeah. It says it's got the little badge for Whisper Kit and speaker recognition. 4 out of 5 quality, 4 out of 5 speed.
Oh no, that feels wrong.
Large V3 turbo.
Let me go to manage
here,
models.
Let me just click this. Copy. I'm copying. I'm pasting. Here's where I am right now. Hey, everybody.
I encourage everyone to play along. It's a delight.
Well, I don't want to do too much right now because I don't want to screw up the computer. But I will play more with this. But are you discovering? Are you hooking it up and doing shortcutty things to like automate it? Is it a lot of clicky draggy? Like, what does that look like for you in practice?
For a while, I was just transcribing it without speaker recognition, a bunch of shows, and you can have it. This works really well. If you just want to transcribe things that show up in a folder, then it will do that, and you can set it to save as a markdown
so if you just
file.
Want the words and don't care about the other stuff.
Yeah, and that you don't need to use a Whisper Kit model. You can just, let it fly. Okay, looking at this. Okay, on the top right, where it says Whisper Kit, go to all models. I know that sounds counterintuitive.
No, I've been through this with
okay.
No, sorry. No, I just to say I'm not, this isn't a problem at all. Manage local models. Because I went through this with the App Store version exactly the same. So far, it looks identical. Okay, Whisper models, and you want me to click on, I've got the sorting thing, I've got the recommended thing. What am I clicking on? Whisper Kit? All models, You said? No, you said all models.
Yeah, and then the top ones, which are the biggest, should be Whisper Kit. There's a large V2 and a large V3. That's still the same on yours? Okay.
Yeah, but it's interesting, though, because large V3 Turbo gets more stars. So it's sorting by what here on its own? It's sorting by, let me sort by quality. Yeah, large V3 Turbo recommended to C++. Oh dear. Okay, I'll figure it out. I'll just keep messing with one. Again, though, I'm just a dumb guy and I don't really know how to do this.
No, it's just interesting because my V3 is different. It says V3, you need to go into settings and say, I believe it's allow advanced models, I think is the difference. Because
I think I'm getting them. The top three I've got are large V3 Turbo, large V2, large V3 that's Whisper Kit, large V3 that's Whisper C++. I'm guessing just based, I don't know, large V3 Turbo seems like it would probably, wait, no, sorry, that's C++ Whisper.
Right, see, right, I know.
I want Whisper Kit, but I want a big boy.
Yeah. I'll show you. It's very, it's,
I mean, that's kind of what I've got. Yeah. All right. I'll figure it out later. All right. Cool. All right. That's exciting.
Anyway,
That's a big step forward from, like, I went through the same thing, as you recall, a couple months ago, where I was like, it says, and I'm learning, I got to learn about what diarization means and all this stuff. I'm like, that's why I came to the Slack with you guys, and I was like, I just don't understand which one of these is the good one, which is the one that I should use. But I mean, it's a silly question because, I mean, they all have different things, I suppose, but.
Yeah, that's the hard part is, it's not even just quality versus speed. It's also what kind, like,
well, the
what
accuracy
kind
of like
quality.
doing the voices and like, anyway, I'll figure it out.
What did you, how did you interpret this challenge?
Well, I mostly wanted to talk about, and I talked about this in great detail on Rectives last night, but I think there's still enough meat on the bone here that I can jump the line a little with what I'm trying to do. To cut a long story short, I've had a lot of really good successes with the Dingus lately at fixing stuff that has been like a long-standing thing or a frustrating thing. And it's just, as far as the manipulating data part, this is such a cheat to fit the challenge. But truly, the thing that's been huge for me with getting better ChatGPT results is for stuff is to really just completely stop trying to be smart. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And to focus, and the way I said this to, I think, Rye on the internet, is really focusing on disambiguation and clarity about what it is I actually want or what I think I want versus like giving it too much information where it's guessing what I want. Like, tell it specifically what I want. And then really focus closely on carefully following instructions within, reasonable parameters. And I've just, and you know what a lot of that comes down to? Screenshots, a combination of integration with things like Prompt, and then also just screenshots, like trying to fix this problem with my Synology, or trying to do this, I've fixed some headphones that had bricked, and all of it came from copy paste. Like, okay, here's exactly what, when I mount my headphones on my Mac, here's all that information, and then when I go to Prompt and I enter this thing, I can say, just go look at Prompt and see, and it goes, oh yeah, I see the problem. I see the problem with you trying to get to, SSH into your Synology and da-da-da. But it also just learns stuff. Like, okay, well, instead of giving me the same instructions over and over for a path that's not my path, like in terminal or like on my device, it learns what my environment is and remembers it. So that then it can say, like, we'll go back to, CD and go to this directory or whatever. And while I think probably intelligently, you can't manipulate Prompt or the terminal via ChatGPT, they work really nicely together. So you can say, like, check in and see what you think. Because, oh, I see your problem here. This brew package needs to update, or you're in the wrong directory for this, or here's an attributor flag that's required, even if you're not, all that kind of stuff in a million years I would never figure out. I'm enjoying that relationship with my stuff, and again, the real dumb takeaway for me is doing stuff like, okay, I just created this thing in AppleScript, or I just made this thing in Python or whatever, screen grab, here's the error it gave me. And somewhat famously now, at least amongst our friends, it's pretty good at that, where it'll understand contextually why you just pasted that thing in there. And it'll do stuff like I can return to an old thread and say, I want to speed up my Plex even more. What settings should I change on this page? Screenshot. And it just walks you through each one. It makes a little table with little green check marks and says, that one's good, this one's optional, you can do that. And I've just been having really good luck with that. And it's been helping me with a lot of stuff, including my emotional health. I've been feeling better now that I've solved a lot of little problems, and I feel great about it.
Oh, that makes me so happy.
And I even started a new thing where, I did this a lot, stuff like this idiotically. I just tried when I first got on ChatGPT, and now I'm kind of back to it, which is this creating my own sort of notional meta containers. So like that could be things like tags, I guess. But for example, like I've started a new one, which is called Great Success. which is like if something has gone particularly well in a thread and I want to be able to talk about it later, I ask it to remember it as a great success. I have a little log line for what went well about it, and that gets remembered across all the threads now. So, I'm also just discovering stuff. Saying it's Syracuse, it blows me away. I went to a thread from probably a year ago. I don't know how long, last night, and I wanted to record it as a great success. And I don't know how it works. John can explain it. I can't. But this thread that's just been sitting there, I run it again and I say, remember, this is a great success. And all that information that had been in that thread, all the stuff that had been generated, I know it's all input. It's probably just running it through itself several times. But I've been having really great success with that. And fixing these AirPods Max was like, I just cannot believe it helped me fix these things. Because it was really bumming me out. I didn't want to buy a third pair of these goddamn headphones. But
Jesus. Oh my God.
Because the first ones were quote unquote water damaged. And then the second one, the ones I have now, which I didn't realize until they didn't work how addicted I am to certain things about, any AirPods. But in this case, these AirPods Max, I can sleep on them better than I can sleep with any other headphones. I can change, which device I want to be using really easily. Once I've literally reset every device and said, don't connect automatically, but only when last connected. Only my phone gets the pride of place.
They only get the treat, yeah.
Of the automatic. But anyway, and it took days and days and days. Well, why does it take days and days and days? Well, because ultimately, what we arrived at, the dingus mostly, was that there seems to be something wrong where it's frozen on a firmware update or something. That screen grab I took from the Mac of what the system report says about it, go to USB, scroll down, click, and it shows you what the firmware on there is. It shows you what the serial number is. It's all just working with how my brain works. Why does it take so long? Well, when you troubleshoot AirPods or I guess other kinds of devices, it's pretty relatively opaque to deal with. Like you got amber lights, green lights, white lights. They mean different things. What combinations and chords you press with the buttons on the side do different things. But something almost everybody will probably end up with at some point if they have to try and fix their own AirPods is completely resetting, like fully discharging, but you also then have to make sure they're fully charged. The goal we're trying to get to is impossibly sort of inchoate, which is it appears that you're stuck on this beta firmware from a week or so ago, and it won't even let you get to where it'll charge up and do the thing. I hope I've shown my bona fides that I've done this stuff a lot, and I've, in this case, carefully followed the instructions a lot. But sometimes to get to where it actually fixes itself, you need to power it all the way up, keep it near your device. This is a little bit arcane, but if you're lucky, eventually something will happen. Some magic will happen on your currently charged AirPods Max, and it will basically sort of agree to like a reset from the device. And I did it. It took me like 3 days, but then I woke up one day and I cautiously unplugged them and I put them on and they went boom and they were working. And I was able to do it all again. Now, is that something I could not have solved by Google? No, I mean, I've solved a million things like that with Google or similar. It was just really neat that I could have this thread over here where I could say like, okay, well, they're charging up. See you tomorrow morning. And I don't have to think about it. I don't have to worry if I got it wrong. I'm going to put them here. I'm not going to touch them. It sounds nuts, but I'm just telling you, like, when something is really, I think that's as close to bricked as I could call something I own in a while, which is like none of the usual things cause it to respond. Did I try different cables? Did I try different charging bricks? I tried all of the things. I got a brand new USB-C to Lightning just to make sure there's no corrosion. I put it into a known good power brick. Eventually, I guess that helped. But until it's fixed, you still don't really know what's wrong. It's just that sometimes it ends up working. And in this case, it was such a nice combination because I was able to say, fine, I'll let it charge overnight. Even as I was still kind of sad I didn't have my headphones. But then one day it worked and it made me happy. And honestly, things like that have given me a lot more encouragement to try some pretty wild swings with either changing or fixing something. Nothing like load bearing, But I've just had really good luck in the last week, and I've had a lot of great successes. So it's kind of
Great
a challenge,
success.
kind of not. Great success.
I think you really did this challenge because you manipulated data that you can't really see, because so much of what you were doing was the Apple weird secret sauce of doing their magic reset dance that I almost wonder how much ChatGPT knows that it's able to has scraped. But it's like
it's
this
read
isn't
a lot
for
of Reddit,
public.
I think, is part of it.
Well, also it's like how much, you've also read all of the documentation. How much have you been able to wiggle into Apple?
All the documentation is great. It's all fine if it's not actually that broken. I mean, the documentation is one beautiful...
The documentation that you can access versus what is behind a very, what do you call it? Like a barely latched screen door that something else could find and is part of this model.
It's just a long press after 30 seconds followed by 3 amber blinks and 1 white blink. I mean, you're already in territory that a lot of people are not going to find comfortable. It's kind of frustrating and even if you know to go and Google or look for a knowledge base article or whatever it's called, getting all that stuff done and having somebody who's going to hold your hand through that ended up being really great. I'll give you another one. I
was going to say, forget uncomfortable. What about not possible? There are lots of AirPod users are blind or at least colorblind. What are you supposed to do like that? And this is not an imaginary situation. That's a real issue. And you can change a setting now, but with AirPods.
But I bring it in. I got Apple Care on these and I didn't even bother bringing it in because what happened last time I did that was they go, oh yeah, it's water damaged, end of story. And you're like, okay, well, I have very little to lose by taking these 2 sets of costly headphones and throwing everything at both of them. Only one of them is fixed. The other one is the old ones. The ones I bought a long time ago are still broken. And who knows? I may fix them someday. Who knows? But it also certainly involves stuff like maybe you just got lucky that one time. Maybe that was the time that it decided to try this wackadoo thing. But another one was, I'm not sure exactly why. I think this was my fault probably, but I have a media-related demon called Radar, and I was installing the update to it. It's on my Synology. And I was installing the update through the web interface, which is not the most cromulent way to do it. And I think maybe something happened and something catastrophic kind of happened where the update just to this one Synology package wasn't working. And then when I restarted my Synology, it was just having all kinds of weird problems. But I just said, you know what? The phrase I kept using with Syracuse last night, let go and let God. I'm just going to be a dumb guy. And so I'm just going to be a dumb guy that goes, I'm having trouble with my Synology. It's not the Docker, it's the package version of Radar, and it seems to be corrupted. And in a very friendly way, it just walked me through well, what's that log file say? I just kept sending it screen grabs, and it goes, okay, this stuff looks fine, that's fine, we'll try these things, dee-dee-dee. I fired up prompt, and it walked me through, in Pigs and Bunnies, was well, you're going to cd into here, you're going to SSH in, you're going to sudo this command. That is going to make a backup of your entire Radar, directory, which you certainly wouldn't want to lose all your actual stuff. And we'll give it a different name. And now, are you able to uninstall it from the package manager? And I wasn't. And I'm like, oh God, here we go. I'm back in the terminal. But it was no problem at all. It took half an hour. And it just walked me through every step of each one of those things. And I was able to say things like, well, give it a different unusual name than just data backup. In case there's more than one of those, I don't want you to overwrite it. But anyhow, I was just a dumb guy and I copied and pasted and it was able to fix it. And again, when you I think are onto something 3 minutes ago when you were saying I don't even know what's possible. I didn't know if I could fix these headphones, but it was not harmful for me to try. Dumbest fucking thing in the world. We have this little Keurig coffee maker that I like a lot. And the descaling light has been on for 2 or 3 months, which is no big deal. It's got 2 lights, basically. There's the brew buttons on it. And then it's got 2 lights, one that says add water and one that says time to descale. And I've been messing with this dumb goddamn thing for months. This is the least satisfying and yet somehow most satisfying end to this is I've been going around and around with this. I was like, look, let's make sure. I took a photo of the bottom of the unit. I double checked my order from what so I want to make sure I'm telling it the right model that I've got, because of course this all varies a lot from model to model. I went around and around. I did eventually discover that there'd been some confusion about what model I had. I kept pushing. I kept saying, let's start completely over with this. How do we do this? Put in the vinegar, do it this long. But the thing was, now I was still, how do you describe this? I had the confidence to keep going with this, even though I felt like a ding-a-ling. And my family didn't even care that this descaling light was on, but it bugged me that I couldn't fix it. And here's the unsatisfying but ultimately satisfying part, is I realized, this is interesting. It comes with this, you fill up this, I think, 40-some ounce water reservoir, which like when you take it out of the box, it's mounted on the side. But guess what? Turns out you can change a little flippy thing on the bottom and move the reservoir to the back, which, first of all, I didn't know, but B, that is perfect for the place we have this coffee maker. So why not just for fun, try moving the reservoir to the back, especially because it would be better. And guess what? After I did that, the descaling light turned off and it was fine. So is that because of ChatGPT? I would say kind of yes, because even though it did not give me the solution to try that, it was my confidence to keep pressing toward a solution and looking for the broader landscape versus just, I just want the light to go away. Like, well, what could be causing that light thing? Is there a sensor that's messed up? Like, what is it? But I'm very happy to share that victory with the dingus. And importantly, maybe not to you guys, but to me, it made me feel a little better at a time when I could use a lift and a feeling of success.
Great success.
Great success.
Mm-hmm. How much... Ooh, I'm going to write this for the after show. Speaking of after shows and money, we're talking about the same prompt, right? Panic's software, the terminal. Mm-hmm. I know it's
I
not.
think they call it Prompt 3 on a Mac.
Yeah, I know it's not like the same as, like a robust ID, but all of these.
Well, it's a terminal emulator.
Yeah.
It's very Mac-y. And it works on iOS too. It's just you can't do stuff like have a local window on iOS.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That was my...
But it's a really clever app. It's so pretty and so smart and easy to use.
And what I have been enjoying is I've been trying to do so much stuff in like Cursor and what's the other one? Windsurf. And these are like, fully formed IDs that you can technically like make stuff for the terminal or using VS Code to like
these are, if I understand correctly, what you're describing here is an IDE. It's a coding environment but in this case is heavily integrated with some kind of LLM. Yes?
Yes.
It's not like an afterthought strap on. It's like from the bottom up, Cursor is meant to be something where you're expecting to interact with an LLM as you code something in the IDE. Yes?
Yes. And what has wait, why was I talking about money? It is a perfect example of what the guys talked about on an ATP, whatever their premium after show is called, about how developers aren't going anywhere because in order to use to quickly use an IDE in a language you don't understand, like I can figure stuff out with Python and AppleScript, but anything else I'm like, oh god. And you can revert back to something you've made usually, but with a lot of this, it'll change previous types of like some previous command. And I'm like, I don't know. And just being able to take screenshots of things and then asking like the uncut ChatGPT. Well, in my case for both terminal and like Python stuff, I typically ask Claude just because I've had more great success with that one. It's a great dummy way to do it because like you can so quickly fuck stuff up, and if you don't know what you're doing, it not only breaks, but you don't know what has
This is in
broken.
Cursor or similar?
Yeah,
Okay.
in a something that will automatically change like the whatever everything that you've written. If you're like, okay, I need
It's got
to
access to
debug
like,
this thing.
and that's kind of what I'm doing to some extent, depending on the app with ChatGPT, where, and I don't know how many Mac people are doing this, but it's pretty neat. You can like give it access to what's happening in prompt or BB Edit or VS Code or any of those things. And it can be really quite powerful. To just have like a little buddy. In this case, like I say, Syracuse agreed that, it's just as well probably that you cannot manipulate things in prompt from ChatGPT. Because if you think about that for half a second, it's kind of scary.
Yes, that is what I want.
You can't like
That's-
RMRF,
excited.
remotely
Okay.
or whatever.
Okay.
But it's just neat because it is a little buddy. And I'm going in there and I'm just compulsively hitting the 6 commands I know how to do in the terminal and pasting a lot of stuff. But again, the dingus is giving, because of how I have it configured and how it's learned from me, it knows to just give it to me as a line with that little copy thing. Copy it and I'll paste that in. And then I just type the words like okay, which it has learned to understand means. And now go look at prompt and see how it, and that's where it'll notice stuff I would not notice. As I'm going glazed over to like all of the words on the screen. But it's able to really quickly grok all. I can't believe how quickly I can drop in a screenshot that's just a giant Mac Safari window. And it does so frequently seem to know what it is I'm trying to get out of it. It's really weird.
What I find interesting is I think the first time I did that, it was actually, it asked for one a while. Not a year ago.
Ask for a screenshot?
Yeah, it was like, can you? I couldn't do something.
The first times I did that, I was just like, are you kidding me? Because I have a brain that formed at a time when this kind of stuff was beyond science fiction. You know what I mean? The idea of I've been doing some version of OCR since college. And boy, how do you even begin? That has come a long way. When I was trying to write that book a while back, I got really into drag and dictate. But even then I would find myself getting all wound up in drag and dictate and wasn't doing it correctly. And I found all kinds of ways to get up my own ass about not actually producing anything. But anyhow, and so when all these pieces come together so seamlessly, it's nuts. And I'm just sitting there and finally I get like a head of steam. I told Syracuse that this ended 2 days ago with the craziest goddamn thing I've ever tried that I can't believe worked, which is like, but I'm about to tell you a very quick anecdote, but to understand this anecdote, you have to understand that I've been having a fair amount of situational depression and I've been struggling with lots of things and haven't had a lot of wins. I'm kind of frustrated with a lot of stuff. But that period of getting more comfortable with using this to fix things, I feel like so far anyway, culminated a couple of days ago when in fact my home Synology I think it might be dead, but something got screwed up with it. You know what I did? I shut down and carried home the Synology that I have at my office. I plugged it in and I could bring it right up in a browser because of Synology, but also because of Tailscale. Well, I mean, I don't know how much time you've spent like doing stuff with your Synology, but I would never in a million years assume that I could plug that appliance in somewhere and have it just work. I was able to bring it because of Tailscale. I could bring it right up in a browser. Now, is that a ChatGPT success story? Not directly, but if I hadn't had this series of wins, look, if I hadn't fixed that firmware, if I hadn't fixed the Keurig thing, if I didn't get really good advice about the best way to mount anchor screws in masonry so I could put up a SCADA board, Mr. Pickles and Steve, those fantastic film posters. These are all things I consider a win, and it gave me confidence to try something different. So that's, to me, a secondary, like a knock-on effect of, getting a head of steam on. It's making me more ambitious about wanting to try things, and I think that's wholesome.
I mean, we don't have to end the show on a joke because it's really good.
I think we said everything we need to say, right?
Yeah. Say make a they them joke. Come on, I believe in you. We got grammar.
No, see, now I feel like I'm under a lot of pressure now because of that.
Well, you've had a lot of great wins. You can't be propped up that hard. No, prompt up hard. Wow. Huh.
Okay.
Prompt
Write me a funny them joke.
I remember the days when an AI wouldn't let me make a trans joke. Those were fun days.
Why did the singular they start a band?
Why?
Because they already had a great following, but no one could agree who was in the group.
Well,
I don't think that
you're
was
safe,
particularly funny.
comedians.
It wasn't even
Yeah,
really a joke.
yeah. You're